I've had several ladies ask me how to do the star stitch design in the round. It's something I've never done before. It's always been back and forth on needles, even for the hats. And I decided the other day I wanted to see if I could do it, and I actually figured out how to do the star stitch in the round. So here's a little video on it. It's not super complicated, but I always, the last row, number 4, if I don't count out each individual stitch as I go, I have a tendency to get lost because I've never done it in the round. I'm so used to doing it straight that just automatic to me. Here's a copy of what I wrote out. This shows it in worsted weight yarn, which is this hat. This would be for like kids, ladies, and men. And then I also added to it if you do it on the sport weight or baby weight, which it's always been done on in the 4 different months, and on a size 6 needle. I don't think I wrote 6 needle here. This is done on an 8, this is done on a 6, so you may want to add that. I'm going to leave this kind of exposed like this for a minute so you can take a screenshot and print it if you like. I'm also going to get it on my website, but it may be a little bit of a while before I do. I'm going to make another one here, and I'm going to make it out of pink. I'll do another kid's hat right here like this one. It does work same thing on an odd amount of stitches. So you cast on 64. Now your cast on method is entirely up to you. I like to do the long tail, where you hold it like a slingshot, go under the thumb and around the finger and pass the thumb yarn over the tip. That way when you go to pull it tight, you just do like this and it'll tighten up your stitch for you. See? And it goes really quick when you do this way. Now if you do it the other way, where you wrap it around your finger, hold your work, yarn over, and then do this. This is also another way of doing the long tail, but it takes a little bit longer because there's several more maneuvers to doing it. And I'd rather do it this way and get it done quicker. And I'll show you how I do my locking stitch. I did the locking stitch on this one. It's right here. It shows just a smidgen, but as a general rule, it doesn't really show. That's why I like the locking stitch. And of course, when you do it in the round, the last stitch of the first purl row here definitely slightly staggered. But this is the back of your hat. This would be your front. You'd never see it. Okay, let me get back to this. I've been thinking about doing this for quite a while, and I was trying to think of how I could figure out how to do it. So what I had done is I set my movie camera up to face me, and I was doing it with the yarn, you know, the camera on this side. So as I recorded, I was trying to record what I was doing on this side, because that would be row 4. And my fat fingers kept getting in the way, but I got a general idea of how to do it. And then I played and played and played, and by the time I got round 4 of the stars done on the yellow hat, it pretty much came to me how to do it. And I wrote it down as I went. Now I can't even cast on the stitches. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and get all these cast on and show you the locking stitch, and then the first round, which is purl, because when you're doing it in the round, you can't do garter stitch because you're not turning your work. So therefore, when you do what would be considered the purl side or the back, you have to actually purl around, and then when you do the front, or what would be the front, you would do a knit. So you'll see on here that you're going to have knits and purl rounds in order to get you the texture that you need. That's how this come out when I did the last round here. Instead of a knit, which would look like this, I did a purl on the front and I got the ridge. I haven't even been counting. Hopefully I'm going to not have too many stitches on here, but we'll see in a minute. I'll do a few more, then I'll count. Okay, let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50, 52, 54, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65. Okay, I've got all of them on to do the kid's size in the worsted weight. So let me trim off the excess tail. I always make sure I have more than enough yarn because I hate to have to take it apart and cast it on again. Okay, now at this point, you would make sure when you go to connect your needles together, let me enlarge this a little bit or get it more of a close-up. You want to make sure all your stitches face the same direction. In this case, I like my stitches to go inside. You can do it with your stitches going to the outside too if you like, but since needles automatically go this way, I make sure my stitches are to the inside. It'll be a little bit tight because 65 stitches on a 16-inch needle kind of pulls a bit, but after you get a couple of rows done, it doesn't pull anymore. All right, so to do the lock stitch, you slip the first stitch off the left needle onto the right needle, and then you pass the first stitch of the right needle over top the stitch from the left needle. And then you pull your yarn tight, and there you go, you're all locked and ready to go. Okay, and it says you start with a purl round, so I didn't bring my marker. Oh well, I don't have a marker, I'll get one though. And you would purl every stitch all the way around. It's a little bit different than if you do it on a straight needle, because on a straight needle you knit the first 2 rows and then the next 2 rows is a star stitch. Here you have to start with a purl roll, and then from there you can do a knit and a purl. It gives you kind of a finished edge. You don't have to start with a knit purl if you don't want. You can start with a knit. I just found this makes it a nicer look for the beginning, because you start your star stitch within a couple of rounds of your cast on. Okay, let me get around here. Definitely making some headway. I'm hoping to finish this in one fell swoop so I can get it uploaded tonight. It just depends on how fast I can get around making the hat. Now I'm not going to do this part because it's strictly just knit, and I'm not going to do the top crown because we did that on the last 2 hats. It's roughly the same but just a tad different. I'll walk you through it because I have the decrease right here. Sorry about that, I had to go answer the phone. I stopped and got me a stitch marker. Now I'll continue purling. I'm not going to knit and purl every single row on the video, but I just want to go ahead and get this first row done and start it on the second row, and then we'll go through the third row, then we'll start our pattern. So the pattern is still only 4 rows, but at the very beginning I just add that extra roll of purl, where normally it's just knit, purl, knit, knit, and then you do your pattern. I use a size 8 needle, 16-inch circular. Now you can get the 9-inch circular, but they may be too tight, too small to do a hat. Now I can get them, so if anybody does want a 9-inch circular in any of the sizes, just drop me a note and I'll be very happy to order them. Right now I have size 6, 7, and 8, I think, on order in the 9-inch circulars. So I will have them available shortly. They should be in my shop within the next 2 to 4 days. Okay, I'm just about around on this round. Can't say roll because these are not rolls. A little bit more to go. Looks like about 5 or 6 stitches left. Okay, I'm back to the beginning, and you can see, because that thread right there, I'll place my marker. Now it says round 2, knit around. So bring the yarn to the back, and then we're going to knit this round. And since you know how to knit, I'll go ahead and pause the tape until I get back around to this side, and then we'll go ahead and show the next part. I'm down to my last few knit stitches, so we'll go ahead and complete these. There's my marker. I don't like to use big, thick, clunky markers. I like to use the smallest marker I can in a contrasting color. Okay, so now you slip the marker, bring the yarn to the front because we're going to purl, and then you purl again. But you purl every one of these stitches all the way around. So there's nothing new here, it's just very repetitious. But I definitely wanted to show you how you bring the yarn to the front and then start purling. Okay, I'll meet you back when I get over here. I'm just about finished with this purl round. So let me go ahead and finish it, and then we'll start the first round of the star, which is exactly the same as the first roll of a star, which would be roll 3. Okay, bring the yarn to the back, or you can slip your marker if you want. Bring the yarn to the back because this roll will be a knit roll. So it says to knit 1, slip 1, as if to purl. I didn't put that on there, but whenever a pattern says slip 1, you automatically slip it as if you're going to purl. That keeps the stitch in the right orientation so it doesn't twist. Okay, so you knit 1, slip 1 as if to purl. Knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, slip 1. So this is repetitious, done all the way around. Now when I get ready to do the next roll, I'm not going to be able to talk because I'm still not totally comfortable with doing it. It's not an automatic design. Roll 1 is automatic because it's just knit, slip, knit, slip, knit, slip. And while you're slipping it, you're leaving the yarn in the back. You do not bring the yarn to the front when you're slipping. You leave it to the back. I can see the last one I did with a slip because here's my yarn over here. So the next one, if you have to set it down, you can look and see, like if you look here, your last one was a knit stitch, so the next one would be a slip stitch. So if for any reason you have to stop in the middle of a roll and you have to try to remember where you're at, just look at the back. This was knitted, so that one was slipped. So this one will be knitted, and then that next one will be slipped. I always try to stop in the same spot. I always stop with a knit stitch because if I stop with a slip stitch, it could slip off the needle. So I always try to end it on a knit. That way when I come back, I know I have to do a slip. It just was an easy way for me to remember where I was at if I stopped. And I probably made at least 100 of these hats, possibly even more. In the regular fashion, so I don't even look at a pattern. Sometimes I look back to remember how many to cast on, but for the rest of the pattern, it's all the same that I've been doing for years. It's just a cute little pattern and I love it. That's why I thought I'd share it with everybody. And then when I got several requests on how do you do it in the round, I thought, yeah, that'd be a great way to make the hat because then you don't have to worry about doing a seam up the back. Okay, just about done. Slip, knit. Now you will end with a slip stitch because the first stitch you did was a knit. So when you go to the next one, the first one you're going to do is a purl. Then bring the yarn to the back of the work. But see, it's already in the back of the work. But I wrote it that way because this would be repetitious all the way across. Then you bring the yarn to the front of the work. Oh, that's right, you have it in the front anyway because it's a purl 1. So you bring the yarn to the front, purl the first one, take the yarn to the back, slip the stitch as if to purl, put the yarn in the front, and then purl. Okay, yarn to the back, slip as if to purl, yarn to the front, purl. Yarn to the back, slip, yarn to the front, purl. This is the one I have to really concentrate on because I do make mistakes on this because it's a very new stitch to me as well as you. Okay, purl, slip, yarn to the front, purl, yarn over, slip, yarn to the front, purl, yarn to the back, slip, yarn to the front, purl, yarn to the back, slip, yarn to the front. And that's what it is this whole way across. See, where did I leave off? Oh, I just brought the yarn to the front, so it definitely is a purl stitch. See, I got to talking too much and almost blew it and have to take some stitches out. You also know you're on the right track when you look at your work. Oh, sorry, it doesn't do it on this roll. It doesn't. See how these on roll 3, you see they're always worked in. It looks like you have little patches of 2. You know you've done that row correctly when they're all patches of 2. Unfortunately, when you do this roll, it doesn't do that. Wish it did, because it'd be a lot easier to keep track of. Okay, that was a slip, so this is a purl. Oh, sorry, slip. See, I was getting ready to make a mistake again. Let's see, it's in the back, slip, yarn to the front, purl, yarn to the back, slip, yarn to the front, purl. I'm about halfway. But I want to keep doing this to help it get ingrained into your memory too. Because that was the only way I could ingrain it into mine, is just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. Well, by doing 4 rolls worth, you definitely had plenty of practice. By the time I had the 4th row done, or the 4th time done, let's see. Okay, that was my purl. This is a slip. There we go. Yarn in back, purl, slip, yarn in front, purl. Yarn in back, slip, yarn in front, purl. Yarn in back, slip, yarn in front, purl. Hey, we're getting there. I feel all thumbs tonight. Seems like I'm having to work extra careful to make sure I keep everything in hand. Also, with the first couple of rounds, it's a little bit awkward to hold on to everything because whoops, that's a slip. Because you don't have a lot of work hanging down below. And see, that was knit. Oh no, see, that was supposed to be a slip. So I screwed up, because this should be the knit, because the slip would have the little bar across it. So I got to take it out till I see where I made the mistake. I think it's right there, because that looks a little awkward. All 3 of them are too close together. So let me get this. Okay, there's where my mistake was. Okay, so this should be a purl. The one that doesn't look like a purl will be purled, and the one that has the bump will be the one that you slip. Okay, so purl, slip, purl, slip. I try to give some little tricks if I see something that might help make it a little easier going. We're just about done with this row. Oh, was I supposed to do that? Yeah, that was the purl. Nope, it wasn't either. I think that was supposed to be a slip. Let me go back. Yep, that was supposed to be a slip. See, I brought the yarn to the front, so that one's supposed to be a slip. Yarn to the back. Slip as if to purl. There we go. Now we're back on track again. So easy to get off track. And then I slip, because the first one I did on this roll was a purl. Okay, so now we've done this roll and this roll. So now we're going to knit around and purl around just like we did up here. And that will give us our first star stitch design. Okay, I will pause until I get around on the end of the knit, and then we'll start on the purl and see what our design looks like. Okay, I have row 6 just about completed. I have 3 more knit stitches here. Then I slip the marker, and roll 7 is purl. So I bring the yarn to the front, And all of these stitches will be purled, because this will be the beginning of getting ready to set up for your next star stitch 2 rows. Oh, my tail got in the way. Now my fingers are getting in the way. Okay, I'll meet you back on the other side. Okay, I'm just about done. Almost up to my marker again. This is roll 7, which is you purl around. Then I slip my marker. I bring my yarn to the back because I know I'll probably have to do that. Okay, now rows 8 through 11, repeat 3 through 6. So you repeat, I just did the purl round. So I've got to figure out what actually should be repeating rows 4 through 5. That's right, I made a correction and forgot to make it down here. This is row 4, 5, 6, 7. And the same here, this will be 4, 7, 4, 7. Oh. We just had thunder, scared me. Okay, so now we're going to repeat rows 4 through 7, and 4 is the knit 1, slip 1. Row 5 is the purl 1, and then slip 1 after you move the yarn around. So here we're going to start with the knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, slip 1. This is the beginning of the second set of stars. I'll just stop at this point so you can see. There's the star right there in the middle. And this is the beginning roll of the next set of stars, because as you can see here, there's the stars, and right here is that knit purl roll, and it catches and makes the stars with the part of it, and then the other knit purl roll and the stars catch it again, and you do it all the way up, and your last row here will be a purl roll. And it even says row 7 is a purl row. And after that, you just do the body of the hat. You just work in yard worsted or the sport, it doesn't matter, knitting around and around on the hat until it meets one of these lengths, including this. So it'd have to go from here to here is the full length of your hat, like 5 inches, 7 inches, or whatever it is, and then you would do your decrease. Now with this decrease, what I did different was I did a knit 1, knit 2 together and kept repeating it all the way around. Then round 2, I just knitted. Round 3, I repeated it, knit 1, knit 2 together all the way around, and then I knitted around. When I got down to this point and I knitted the 2 together, actually when I got about right here, I had to switch to the double pointed needles because there wasn't sufficient stitches to go around on my 16-inch. Now if I had a 9-inch, I probably could have went a little bit further, but I don't have a 9-inch at this point. So like the last 3 rows, maybe the last 4 rows, you may have to switch to your double pointed, especially when you do the knit 2 together all the way around. You'll have anywhere from 10 to 12 stitches left on your knitting needles, and that's when you would cut your thread and put your yarn on a tapestry needle and weave it through the stitches that are on the needle and pull them tight, just like we did on the top of the other hats. So if you go back and review the last part of my video for the 3 to 5 color hat, you'll see how this part is done, and you'll see how I switch from the circular down to the double pointed in order to get the top done and make it lay reasonably flat. But this is an easy way to do it with the knit 1, purl 1. You really don't have a pattern up here, it's just everything shrinks in. Thank you for watching. I'll go ahead and get this out and going. If I do decide to show doing the body of the hat and the bind off on the top, or the decrease, I'll make a second video for just this section. That way I can get the ball rolling so you can get started on doing your star stitch yourself. Yep, your star stitch right there. It's a neat little stitch. It's great for hats, scarves, jackets, shawls, headbands, glove, cuffs. I mean, it's very diversible. What's the word? Not diversible. Very popular to be used in multiple different ways. And if you like my video, please hit notifications so you get the next video. Hit subscribe so that way when another one comes out, you have the opportunity to be first to see the next video that comes out. Like I said, if I go ahead and do a second video on the top half of this hat, which I probably will do, it'll come out tomorrow. I'm sorry, that was my puppy. Thank you for watching. All right, this is row 4. I'll go ahead and do a little more. In row 5, which is to purl one and then bring the yarn in front, slip one, and then take the yarn. So you bring the yarn to the front because we're purling. So purl one, yarn in back, slip one, yarn in front, purl one. Yarn in back, slip one, yarn in front, purl one. So see, we're just repeating those previous rows we did, just like we did on our regular star stitch hats and jacket, because it's just the same 4 rows over and over again until you get the amount of rows of star stitches you want. Okay, because I will eventually get this hat done. Okay, I'll go ahead and meet you on the other side, because I've done quite a few here. See, I've already, you can definitely see the first row of stars standing out, and I'm working on the second row of stars. I just completed round 5, so now I want to go with 6 and 7, which is a round of knit and a round of purl. Okay, right now I slipped my last stitch, but since I want to knit, I have to make sure my yarn stays in the back, and this round is knitted. Oh no, it isn't. Wait a minute here. Which one? Yeah, I just finished that one. Sometimes I get confused. Okay, but yeah, I'm ready to do the knit round, and then after I do the knit round, it's a purl round, and then we go back to 4 again and start all over. So let's see what this looks like when I get the knit round done and the purl round, and we'll come back and show you 2 sets of stars. I just finished the purl round. I did the knit and the purl, and as you can see, 2 sets of star stitches have now been completed. I will continue working on this hat, but the rest of it will be on a second video.